R. Kelly is due back in court this Thursday on his most serious charges yet. He now faces 11 new counts of sexual assault and abuse. The R&B star denies all of the charges. In an exclusive CTM interview back in March, he insisted that he has done nothing wrong.
I have to tell you,
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. Y'all, I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me.
Nearly 20 years ago, music critic Jim DeRogatis helped break the first story on claims against R. Kelly. In his new book, it's called Soulless, The Case Against R. Kelly. He says he knows of 48 women who were allegedly abused by the singer over 30 years. R. Kelly's attorney told us this, quote, "I have not read his book, nor do I care what he says. We will worry about the court and not Mr. DeRogatis." Jim DeRogatis joins us at the table to discuss. Good morning. Really good to have you here.
Hi, Gail. Thank
I
you.
was fascinated by your book because I'm thinking, I heard about this. But for you, this started around Thanksgiving 2000. You get a fax. You even bought a copy of the fax. You get a fax at your job, and it says what? What do you do with it?
I throw it on the slush pile of hate mail and press releases that I'm going to ignore, because anytime I wrote about hip-hop, that's not music, it's noise. Or if I dared criticize the Rolling Stones or a baby boom icon. But there was a tone in that fax. Dear Mr. DeRogatis, I'm writing to you hoping you can help. Robert has a problem. His problem is young girls.
Wow.
I slept on it that holiday weekend, and I went back to, I had a science. I went into the office once a week to get my mail, file expenses, and leave, before the editors could give me more work as pop music critic. And there was a level of specificity, and a young woman named Tiffany Hawkins, who it alleged had filed a lawsuit for having a sexual contact with Kelly at age 15. He picked her up in her choir class at Kenwood Academy. And
20 years later, though, Jim, we are still talking about these kind of allegations.
Yes.
And 20 years later, he is still not gone to jail.
Right.
Why?
Every system in Chicago has failed dozens of young black women, Gail. The courts, the churches, the schools, journalism, the music industry. It was me and another reporter, Abdon Palish, and a brilliant columnist who's a hero of mine, Mary Mitchell, and that was it. Until recent months, really. Everybody wanted to dismiss these charges because, and I'm only echoing what dozens of young black girls have told me, for 19 years, nobody matters less in our society than young black girls.
You write, Jim, that you say, I put the number of people who knew about or witnessed that damage in the thousands.
In the thousands. From record company publicists and tape operators to Clive Calder, the president of Jive Records, Barry Weiss, Reverend Jesse Jackson, one of his spiritual champions.
They deny that they know. Barry Weiss says, listen, I'm running a record company.
Jive Records was named in lawsuits filed by underage girls. And if you're being sued as a party on a $10 million lawsuit by a 15-year-old girl, you know.
You said you heard people for years, they would say, R. Kelly likes them young.
It's the worst fact. It sounds like hyperbole when I say this, Gail. But if you go to Chicago on the South and West Side and you talk to three black women, two will have stories. Not that they've been, but them or their sister or their aunt or their cousin or their mom has been at Kenwood Academy or the Evergreen Plaza shopping mall or the Rock and Roll McDonald's when Kelly was cruising.
But back to Anthony's point, they say that he has a problem with young girls. They don't call him a pedophile. They just think he has a problem and he needs to get help. Even the women who are with him don't seem to be mad at him. They just think, we just need to help this guy.
The hate that's coming my way, your way, and most troublingly, the way of the young women who've accused him, the social media hatred, it's just a lie. The most common statement I've heard in 19 years of reporting this story is, brother needs help. Brother's got to stop.
Jim, R. Kelly's attorneys say you have agenda. You're not just doing reporting. You've drawn a conclusion here. Your response?
I've sat with 48 women who've done the most difficult thing a woman can do, to tear out her soul and talk about their sexual assault to a stranger and put their name on it and go public and then be vilified as a liar, a gold digger, for that. I mean, that is courage. This book is about the girls. This book is not about this man.
He goes to court Thursday. Do you have any reason to think that it's going to be different when he goes to court this Thursday?
I believe the state of Illinois case will be torn apart because it's about 3 victims who are cooperating, 1 who isn't, and I believe the federal indictments are coming within a month. A pattern of 30 years of sex trafficking, obstruction of justice, tax evasion. The FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the IRS is after him. And they have interviewed, Gail, everybody in my book. I mean, they are spread out
The book
across.
is very thorough, I will say that.
Yeah,
It's
and
very
we
thorough.
do want to reiterate that R. Kelly denies it. Jim
Exactly.
DeRogatis, thank you very much. Soulless is on sale today.